This video is brought to you by Squarespace. Getting wildlife photos in the winter can be fun and rewarding and can also get amazing results, but there can be challenges too. So I'm gonna walk you through how your camera settings might change and how to fix them, how to keep your gear safe from the cold so you don't get condensation in your lens or your body and destroy your camera, and also how to keep your actual physical body safe from the cold so that you can stay out there long enough to get your photos. So first, I'm gonna start with keeping your gear safe, and it's actually pretty easy. What you wanna do is make sure that you're not bringing your gear from extreme temperature. So when you're outside photographing in the cold, you wanna make sure that you don't then bring it into a hot environment. And how you can mitigate this is by keeping your camera in a bag when you transition it from the cold to the warm and letting it sit in there for a few hours so that it acclimates to the temperature and you're not getting condensation in your lens or in your camera. I haven't had a huge problem with this, but I know that some people have gotten water in there from the condensation and it has fried the electronics, so you want to make sure that doesn't happen. Another way that I protect my gear is by using rain gear if it's snowing, because you can get water in your lens. I usually have disposable ones and I'm out of them, so I know that I have to go buy just like a reusable one and cover it. This covering isn't actually waterproof or anything, so this isn't gonna help me very much. The absolute biggest problem you're gonna have with your gear is battery life. It drains super fast in the cold. I've heard of people putting hand warmers on their battery grip to keep it warm, but what I do is I just take extra batteries and I put them in a pocket close to my body so that my body keeps the extra battery warm, and you can swap them as needed. I have an extra one here, but you might end up having to bring a few extra batteries because they die so fast. So keep that in mind. Now let's get into the gear you'll have to wear so that you're warm enough to actually get pictures. Hi, you're probably here from my winter wildlife video where I talk about how to protect your gear, yourself, and take pictures of wildlife in the winter. And now I'm gonna show you how I edit those photos in Lightroom. The first thing you want is a good base layer, and this is smart wool, it's merino wool. The reason why this is important is because not only is it warm, but it wicks sweat. So if you have anything synthetic that's gonna keep sweat against your body, you're gonna eventually get cold again. So a good base layer is crucial. The next layer I do is waterproof and windproof pants. Now, if it's really cold, I would put other pants on top of my base layer, but I think that this will be fine. And the fact that they're waterproof and windproof is good because sometimes I end up sitting down. You don't wanna get wet, obviously, and it make sure that the wind doesn't go through and make you cold. I recommend just getting these for anything. I walk my dog in these. I go out on rainy days in these. They're so helpful. I keep them near my jacket and just pull them on over my jeans. This is one of the best investments I've ever made. And they have vents, so if you get hot and you start sweating, you can open the vents so that you can breathe and you don't get sweaty and then cold. My next layer is almost a full length parka. And I like that it covers my butt and my thighs because that keeps me extra warm. Also, the inside is a high fill down, so it's super warm. You wanna check the fill of the down to make sure that it's warm enough for the climate you're going to be in. And I specifically chose this jacket because the outer shell comes off and it is waterproof and windproof, so it won't get wet. A lot of down coats, they don't have a waterproof layer, and so they're not really good for snow, rain, and the elements. This also has a pocket right here, and it's perfect for putting my extra battery in there close to my body where it's gonna stay nice and warm and fully charged. The next important thing are your feet. Wool socks, not cotton. They'll get wet, you'll get sweat, you'll get cold. Same story. You want moisture wicking, and you might even need 2 pairs of socks. And then really nice warm boots. These are rated for, I think, like -20 degrees, and they're not the best for walking, but they're definitely warm. My pants are also elastic and go over my boots so no snow will get in. Next layer. Keep your neck covered, keep your head covered. Again, these are both wool, and you wanna make sure that your skin isn't exposed, because if it's cold and your skin is exposed, you risk getting frostbite. So I keep my head and my neck completely covered and keep my scarf so that I can put it up around my nose.
It's real good. Are you going birding or are you going to climb Mount Everest?
I'm going to climb Mount Everest. I'm really not about to get cold when I'm finding birds. And then I have these gloves specifically made for photographers. They're warm and they're leather, but look at this. You can poke your finger and your thumb out so that you can press the buttons and then cover them back up when they get cold. your hands will get cold. You can try using thin gloves. They can still be clumsy, and then also the wind goes right through them. So these are actually warm, and you can still use your fingers. And don't forget your sunglasses, because snow blindness is a thing. How do I look? I'm ready. And the sad thing is I'll still only be out there for 10 minutes before I'm like, I'm too cold. If you're interested in taking pictures with me, I am going on safari. It's going to be in Africa, so I won't be dressed like this at all. I'm going to have more information on that coming up with a web page where you can book the trip. But if you're interested, I'll have my email down below so you can email me and I can send you the link when it's ready. And also I want to thank my sponsor Squarespace for making this video possible. If you want your very own Squarespace website where you can host things like a safari or put your pictures, you can put all of your information so people can hire you or even just see your work, go to squarespace.com/Chelsea and just try it out. I like dragging and dropping new pictures in, rearranging things, tweaking my about page. It's really fun to make your Squarespace website and it's easy. Try it for free. Go to squarespace.com/Chelsea, and when you want to buy it, you can get 10% off with the coupon code Chelsea. That's CHELSEA. Thank you, Squarespace. Now let's actually get outside because I'm really hot now, and I'm going to tell you how to find the animals and then which settings might change in this wintry weather. One thing you might notice as a challenge in the winter is actually finding the animals, especially if there's snow on the ground, and they're going to have a difficult time finding new food sources. So you want to look for things like berry trees. A lot of berry trees hold their fruit, their dried fruit, over the winter. And we're at Rocky Neck State Park right now, and right in the parking lot there are these berry trees, and there are robins in them. I saw a woodpecker and another one. So find the food sources and you can find the animals. Another thing will be where there's unfrozen water, you'll probably find animals. So there is an estuary over here that's brackish, but it's so cold, even the brackish water is slushy and frozen. So there aren't any wading birds in the water, but we did see a great blue heron fly by. We're seeing some gulls. I saw a flock of some birds that I couldn't identify. It was very far away. So there are still animals out, obviously, even though it's very cold. You just have to know where to look. One nice thing about the snow is that you can track easier. So you should learn the types of animals and their tracks. I've seen rabbit tracks around me, so that just lets me know I should keep my eye out for rabbits in the area. We have coyote here, we have fox. So keep your eye out for whatever animals are in your area. They also will be seeking shelter in this kind of weather, so you can look where there are dense conifers. There are some evergreen trees over here. I'm going to walk over there and see if there are animals hiding up in the limbs of the evergreen trees. So let's walk and see what we can find. A little robin is picking the berries off of the trees, and he's kind of scrambling around and eating them. It's a perfect opportunity to get a bird doing what they do in the winter. There are robin here now, but another bird in the Northeast that really loves the berry trees in the winter are cedar waxwing, and they're so pretty. I wish they were here right now. Let's talk a little bit about settings, because when you're taking photos in the snow like this, your camera wants to meter to about middle gray. So anything with snow in the scene, it's probably going to underexpose it. So what I do is I overexpose my photo by about a stop, and I'm using exposure compensation and putting it up a stop to get my subject properly exposed. And then the other thing that you want to do is make sure that you can see your histogram when you review your photos. Your histogram should be peeking towards the right, but not clipping at the edges. You don't want to clip the highlights and lose all of the information in the really bright areas where there's snow. But of course, if that's absolutely necessary to get your subject properly exposed, you can do that. Another thing is to shoot RAW. And when you're shooting RAW versus JPEG, you're getting more information in the photo. That means if you have really dark parts of your photo, like if you have a subject that's a dark color against the bright snow, you're going to have more information in the very bright whites and in the dark shadows, and that will allow you to recover the shadows and the highlights better than if you were shooting in JPEG. So shoot RAW, expose for your subject, and use exposure compensation to make sure that your photos aren't all overexposed because your camera's metering for the snow. And that's pretty much the only difference in settings you have to worry about with a winter scene. Unless you're really shaky, you might want a higher shutter speed as well. But if you're shaking that much, you have different problems. We found some tracks in the snow. I don't know what these ones are. Some little hopping creature, maybe a squirrel actually, but also it looks like there was either a fox or a coyote over here too, which is pretty interesting. Look at this. Yeah, I think that's a fox. They must be going to the water's edge to look for food or to look for squirrels. So we know there's wildlife out here. Come to me. Come see me. That's how you do it. That's how the pros do it. Come talk to me. I won't hurt you. Another challenge you might run into with snow pictures is editing. You might be wondering, how do I expose things properly? How do I make it look good? And I'm gonna edit some of these amazing robin pictures from today and show you what I do to make animals pop in the snow. So there's a link below to that video. You can check out how I edit and I'll walk you through. I'll teach you a little lesson. Okay, let's do that. Look, these are rabbit tracks. I'd rather have the actual rabbit, but that's pretty neat. I can see it went that way, but I don't know how long ago. Maybe, should I smell it? Oh, it was like 2 hours ago. He's gone. As soon as I came home, I took my camera bag with my camera on it and I put it in my back hall, which is cooler than the rest of the house, and I let it come to temperature slowly in the bag for a few hours, and everything is fine. My camera was throwing up a cold weather warning, but it's since come to temperature. There's no condensation problems. It's all good. So I did film the segment outside, but the cold actually killed my mic. So I was just yapping into the wilderness with no sound. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, please bundle up and stay warm. Keep your gear safe. Remember that animals are in different places sometimes when it's snowy or cold, so look for the food sources, the water that's still running. And as always, be sure to check out my sponsor, Squarespace. If you're interested in showing off your photos or showing your about page, your gallery, selling prints or presets or whatever you're doing, make sure to try Squarespace. You can do it for free and you don't have to remember to cancel. It's just 14 days to try it out. And if you decide to buy it, you can get 10% off with the coupon code Chelsea. So check it out. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.